I want you to know, folks, this is not an idolatrous tree. These are just pink hydrangeas. They're a gift from a woman, and I don't bow down to them. So I just wanted to make that very, very clear.
Yeah, that was a curious part of the text.
But they are rather nice, don't you think? Do you like my pink hydrangeas?
I do. I love hydrangeas. Yeah.
Kind of feminizes an otherwise, overtly masculine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it really does.
Okay, we have a question from the chat room. Can an autistic servant whose sole achievement is following the commandments and obeying them without understanding, agreeing with, or questioning them, where does this person fall?
Doing commandment.
He's righteous. But here's the thing. In Judaism, as opposed to Christianity, a simple Jew can never be a good Jew. An Am Ha'aretz, an ignorant Jew, can never be a good Jew. So no one who's unable to question, argue, grapple with, and study the text is able to do the commandments. Because to be able to do the commandments, first of all, you have to know the commandments. Mm-hmm. To know the commandments, you have to study the text. When you study the text, it's all a debate. So if you've ever studied Talmud, it's all, this rabbi says, you have to, and then there are the ongoing rabbinic commentaries of 2,000 years on top of the Talmud, and analyzing the Talmud, and analyzing the biblical text as well. So to be able to perform the commandments, you have to know the commandments. To know the commandments, you have to study the Talmudic and rabbinical debates about the commandments. And different commandments, it's all about a context. Ethics and commandments are both absolute and situational. The situation determines the absolute. So you have to be able to apply the commandments in constantly changing environments and situations. So you have to be able to weigh up relative values, like when you have this commandment clashing with this commandment in this situation, which commandment you give precedence to. So to be able to follow the commandments, you have to be pretty sophisticated.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe you could say a prayer over them to elevate them. Oh, I think he means my pink hydrangeas.
Oh.
We don't say prayers over... Oh man. So it sounds like after so many years a bunch of people can't figure out what the rules are. If that's what you got from that, because situations are constantly changing, there are new developments that don't seem to have been anticipated by 3,000 of years of Jewish law, that the rabbis of today have to apply Jewish law to, and to questions of...
Right, but the complex structure of the law reflects the complex reality that we're constantly in. So
that's what I dig about Torah. It's so real. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not, if you believe this, you shall be saved, or if you just have an open heart and practice active listening, you have to solve your relationship problems. Right. Do you ever have a therapist who described active listening? You know what active listening is? That's where you repeat back to someone. Okay, Monica, you said to me that you were very...
I kind of do that naturally, so yeah. I didn't need to be prescribed that.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can, if you like, look at the films of Ingmar Bergman from Scandinavia. Was he Swedish or...?
He was Swedish, yeah.
Okay, so the problem wasn't a lack of communication that was causing the problems of his characters. The problem was that they had fundamental differences. So all the active listening in the world would not have solved the irreconcilable differences and conflicts between his characters. So all the active listening in the world would not solve the Middle East problem right now. Right now you have a barbaric, primitive, bloodthirsty, genocidal people surrounding a tiny state smaller than the size of New Jersey simply wants to exist. So all the active listening in the world by Israelis to Muslims and Arabs surrounding them is not going to solve this conflict. And just like many of our conflicts in life, are going to be solved by active listening. Go ahead. You disagree with that?
There's a part of me that agrees. No, there's a part of me that believes that everything you're saying is true. There's another part of me though that, again says that we do have to hear. That there are human beings among the crazies. and I think, the voice of the suffering other does have to be heard. So whatever that means, for whatever that's worth.
Some people say the Torah is not progressive. Progressive is a code word today in America for left wing, so...
Unfortunately.
Are the commandments now better to be form-fitting, dependent on the era, the situation, and the rabbi? Are the commandments form-fitting?
I mean, I think they're simply...
Yeah, I mean, they have to be applied in constantly different situations. Judaism is far and away the most sophisticated and impressive moral system ever developed. I mean, there's nothing that comes close to grappling with reality and the details of everything from commercial transactions to marriage conflicts to gossip and slander between individuals in a community to how you should conduct your blog. I mean, Judaism has something to say about all these things, and there's no other legal moral system that compares to it or comes close to it. And you can just look at the results. Wherever Jews have lived, they've been more impressive than the people around them in terms of the degree to which they're charitable with one another, their education, their literacy, their participation in political life, their accomplishments. I mean, about a third of all Nobel Prizes have been given to Jews. So,
and yet there's such a tiny percentage.
So, yeah, we're 0.2 of the world's population. So, I mean, does this system produce impressive results? Yeah, the system produces impressive results. Is every individual Jew really impressive? No, not every individual Jew is really impressive. So did you have any other thoughts about this week's portion that I had not plucked out of you?
No, you've plucked it all out.
Okay, folks. Glad we had this chance to get closer. Thank you for being a part of our faith community.